All the footages. Oh god. This one?
Someone.
Or is there other stuff too? Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Monday? For Wuthering Waves or the new show?
Actually hacked into the American Fork Police Department and released all the footage unredacted of my interactions with them. So this is the original footage I got with the redactions in, and this is the new unredacted footage. I'm lining them up, and I'm going to keep only the redacted parts to see what they were actually saying.
In jail.
I understand.
This ends today.
I know, we're talking
No fucking more.
Okay.
Sadly, they weren't able to get the first 2 days where I was accused of having heroin on me. But the final 2 days, we were able to see a lot, actually. The footage starts with me going to Josh's house so I can serve him his legal court papers. Josh knows that if he goes to court with me, he's going to lose. So instead, a much easier option is he calls the police on me to prevent me from serving him.
His name is Ben Schneider. He's stalking my house. Will you come to my house, please, and come get them? I'm not going to have stalkers.
Are they there right now?
They're on the side of the house.
One of the dispatchers made a note here saying that you were gonna shoot someone.
I'm done with this. Officer, can you please help me and my family and make this stop?
Yeah, absolutely.
She had a consignment deal with a guy named Brian Mansell. A year and a half, almost 2 years, she had this consignment deal with him and she never paid him.
So right away, Josh is lying to the police, which we can easily verify with all of the metadata timestamped pictures that show that the Lego sets were in the store when Josh took it over.
He's hired this YouTuber. His name is Ben Schneider. He's Reckless Ben. They sent people in saying they're going to murder our manager. I'm done.
What are you guys doing here?
So we are in a court case with them and we have to serve them legal papers.
She is a process server and she's trying to serve you papers.
She's not a process server.
Okay.
Get the papers.
Have you
fake papers. They're fake.
Oh my
Go get the
god!
papers.
You okay if I bring those over to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're fake.
Why do they just instantly believe him
Can I see
too?
those papers? Yeah. So this is what you're trying to serve them with?
Yes. I wish we could just send him an email. I wish we could just send him a phone call, or the court could just send it to him, but this is what we're required to do from the United States court. So we're just following the instructions of the government. He thinks if I just call the cops on me, he can get away with it, but we're showing him, like, we're not going to let him get away with this crime, so.
Okay. You okay if I give these papers to him?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Hang tight. Are you okay if she just gives you the papers so we can just get
Have
her?
you looked at the papers? I've talked to the Kaiser Police Department. There's nothing filed. So no, I'm not accepting service from him.
Okay.
Absolutely not. It's fake.
Okay.
It's not real.
That's completely fine. You have that right.
Yeah.
Literally, all this police officer has to do is be like, "You are served," and then he doesn't even have to accept them. He can literally just drop them. But as long as you say you are served, that counts as illegal serving. So why doesn't this cop just do that? Like this whole thing could be solved in literally 3 seconds. Like here, I'll time it. You've been served. Yeah, like literally 1.5 seconds, and this could be solved. This could literally be solved in 1.5 seconds.
And saw that it was real?
And this police officer is just
Johnny, thank you for the 10
purposely
gifted.
choosing
Thank
to
you
make
so
this way
much.
more complicated than it has to be.
Thanks, Johnny.
Hold on.
All right. What are you wanting done today? Besides, obviously, talk to.
As much as you humanly possibly can.
I can screen charges. I'm open to screening charges through our attorney.
Yeah. Instead of serving these court papers like the police officer promised me he would, this officer would rather screen all possible charges for me to see what random stuff they can make up about me.
I'm gonna go talk with him, give him his paper back, since you do not want this.
Can I just peek at it?
What was that?
Can I peek at it?
It kind of puts me in a little bit
All
of
right,
a
never
bind.
mind. It's fake. There's no lawsuit in it.
Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna give this back to him and trespass her.
Because here's the thing. Let's think about this logically. Do you think a process server would show up with a guy that's been harassing a YouTuber to serve papers in Utah?
Josh knows that if he gets served these papers,
What does that have to do with
it's going to
anything?
be really bad for him. And at this point, it seems like he's willing to make up any story he can to get us arrested before he gets served these papers.
They sent a lady in, and the lady's like, "Oh, I'm going to murder you," to Amanda, the manager.
And now,
What?
Josh has just committed a felony. Lying to the police officers about a false threat I made to get me arrested is super duper illegal.
He called the store a billion times, threatened the employees.
He does not want the paper. So
Does not want the papers?
here's that back for you.
Okay.
I'm not sure what this is. I've never seen something like that. To be honest with you.
Well, these are court papers.
Okay. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah, process server's really gonna ride with the YouTuber. I mean, how stupid does he think I am?
What? Can YouTubers not be in legal cases? What?
They have fake
What's
service
to do with
papers.
anything?
And the girl is like, she's like, oh no, I gotta serve him these papers. Like they printed up a fake lawsuit, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah, do you think the process server would really be riding with the YouTube guy to deliver papers to a guy that he's been harassing? I'm like, do you think I'm stupid?
I mean, maybe he really
I don't know
believes
what
that.
to do,
Maybe
man.
he's just in denial.
So, did you call the
He
police?
kind of seems like
I
he's
just
just in
don't know what to do,
denial. I
man.
don't know.
I'm done with these
He's
guys.
like, I'm being harassed. I'm the victim.
We're
It's
ready
fake.
and willing to arrest these individuals for Utah statutes for cyberbullying and digital stalking because they're using electronic means for communication and coordinating their stalking habits.
Oh, it's digital stalking, not stalking.
It's all of the above.
Okay, got it, yeah.
But because they're continuing to use additional tactics and other things like that, thinking that they're being cute and whatnot, can't continue. So somebody has to be arrested to show that they can't continue to do
I
this.
mean, online stalking is definitely a thing, but I don't think that
As much
they've
as we humanly
done
possible.
that.
He's going to submit, have it screened for charges with our prosecutors, right, with our city prosecutors.
He is very adamant that he wants to serve you with papers. Okay.
That's fake. That's illegal. You can't pretend to be a process server.
So
You can't. That's illegal.
Why not? In the state of Utah, to be a process server, all you have to do is be over the age of 18 years old. You got to be not affiliated with the case, and you can't be an attorney. And this girl meets all three. She is over 18 years old. I literally met her like 10 minutes before we showed up here, and she's not an attorney. So legally, in the state of Utah, this woman is a process server. And I already explained this to the police.
So anyone can be a process server. You have to be 18 years old, and you have to be not affiliated with the case. So she is not affiliated with the case. She's over 18 years old. That qualifies as a process server.
Okay. Well, maybe just have someone not affiliated with you.
That's her. Yeah, she's.
Yeah,
we have
I
no
just
relationship. That's
barely
why
met
she's here.
her.
Yeah, that's why she's here. We have no relationship, and that is who she is. The exact person that you're describing.
That's fake. It is a lie. She's impersonating a process server.
So for this girl to be impersonating a process
Why did
server
they
in the state of
censor all this
Utah, she must
before?
either be under 18, which the cops took her ID and verified she's not under 18.
do you have an ID or anything like that on you?
She has to be related to this case, which Josh says he's never seen her before, so she can't be related to this case. Josh has verified that. And so the only option left is Josh must assume that she's an attorney. But if Josh has never heard of her before, how does he know she's an attorney? And spoiler, she's not an attorney. But so I don't know what Josh means when he says she's pretending to be a process server, because it seems like he's verified that she meets all the requirements to be a process server. So basically what Josh is saying is, even though she meets all these requirements, and I acknowledge she meets these requirements, she still doesn't meet these requirements. You're making no sense, Josh.
Impersonating an officer of the court, that carries some, it's pretty significant,
Yeah, you can't pretend to be a process server. Sorry. Yeah, you can't. That's got to be illegal.
And that's, like I say, he's getting combining charges.
It's a Class A misdemeanor to impersonate a process server in the state of Utah.
So right
I
now,
want her arrested for impersonating a process server.
I
can't just go and pretend. I can't go print up fake documents and go try to process serve people. That's illegal.
So these papers that he printed up are
Fake. Yes, 1 billion, trillion, gazillion %.
Again, this is Ammon. I'm with the corporate office.
He's the CEO.
Oh, hi.
So what's happened is we had a former franchisee. Mr. Schneider is just a YouTuber that got a hold of the story and then went to this guy and said, hey, if I can harass these guys and if I can do some stuff and get some money out of them, will you pay me some of that money? And that's what they're trying to do, is the individual who actually owes the money left the United States.
And now Eamon has just committed obstruction by lying to the police officers.
He created a fake contract, forged a manager's signature up there, threatened to kill her.
I didn't sign no agreement. I'm not beholden to somebody else's stupid agreement.
Then
I
it
like how
shouldn't
you
have
can
been
just
your
lie to
merch.
you
What the
guys.
heck?
Just straight face. Oh, he owes me $200,000.
Ew! Yeah, my camera's blocking his. Dude, I hate him. Ew. Look,
$200,000.
look how he's making fun of this like dying old guy. What is your
check with court, see if
problem?
it's a valid
Ugh.
civil case that he's trying to push through, and we'll go about it that way, okay?
Thank you for holding. How can I help you?
Trying to speak with someone to verify if a case is, just verify if a case is real.
Yeah, looks like a real small claims case in our court.
Okay, thank you for your help. I think that's all for today. Thank you.
And after this phone call, I guess the police officers turned off the microphone on their body cam because I guess they really didn't want literally anyone to hear this, even if someone gets a hold of the unredacted stuff. Not even we now can get it to hear what these police officers are saying. But anyways, the police officer ends up going back to talk to Josh.
They're screening some charges, okay?
Yeah.
But we're just kind of working through. It looks like this is a real case. It just hasn't gone to court, okay?
It's a real case. Who's it against?
It, against you, him versus you.
Ben Snyder?
Mm-hmm.
What an idiot.
So,
He's just racking up the charges, and we're working together.
So basically the consensus is we were all wrong here. However, let's just arrest Ben anyways.
Like, letting them go cannot be an option here, guys. Like, there's got to be something for cyber stalking, bullying, like all of the different things. Like, there's got to be something to
You're going to jail
arrest
for
them
bullying now?
and send a
What the
message that this is not
Jay
appropriate,
Lagoon,
this is
thanks
not
for the
okay.
sub.
I've been in agreement with you. Again, that's
If
why
that's
we're kind
true,
of
you know
working
who's
through
going
this
to
right
jail?
now.
Hello.
A lot of you guys. Just kidding.
Okay. Find you back. Am I being arrested? You're under arrest right now. Really?
Just saying.
I love you. I love you. Hello,
There we go.
I love you. Okay, I love you. I love American Police Department.
So now let's get to the search warrant, where the
He's
cops
probably
raided
not
my
so happy
house because
now.
they heard that I was the one that stole the Legos from Brian. So I might have found out an answer of why this cop was so rough with me and threw my arm back. Before we enter the property, the cop warns all the other police officers to make sure we are not filming.
Hey, they're probably going to be quick to film. They're probably going to be quick to pull their phones out, so just be aware of that.
However, when we got raided, I instantly pressed the record button on my phone because I was terrified these police officers were going to do something and try and hide it from the public. But I guess the police officer sees that I'm filming, and once he sees I'm filming,
They have their
I think
guns out and
he was like, as
everything.
punishment for filming me, I'm going to bend your arm back upwards and injure you, is my guess of what happened, because afterwards he says this.
The main kid had his phone recording, so I shut it off, but...
The other kid had a GoPro.
How many did you get? You got banned?
We got
Yeah, if you're not doing anything wrong, it shouldn't be a
including Ben
problem
Schneider?
if anyone's recording,
Sweet.
right?
That's good.
Next, we got some unredacted footage of me using the bathroom.
Okay.
Another thing about this unredacted footage is we get to see the police's entire office building. We get to see their detective board of us. We get to see that they're actually a member of the Church of Scientology Sucks. All my old school fans will know this, but basically I made a religion called Scientology Sucks, and it legally got approved by the IRS, and Scientology Sucks worships a gold plunger as their god. I even got it tattooed on my wrist right here. It's like a plunger cross on my wrist.
Oh, wow.
I guess the American Fork Police Department is active members of the Church of Scientology Sucks because they literally put my god on their desk. That's exciting.
We have a felony stalking case right now. Felonies. Everyone's facing felonies.
That's pretty serious shit.
It's super serious. I know that you've been told all of, oh, it's a fundraiser. This guy stole $200,000.
Yeah.
If that was the case, that guy would be in jail. Yeah. So we're gonna use critical.
Anyways, we're gonna fast forward a bunch. So this is basically a spoiler for
think so,
episode
right?
3, but basically this Bricks and Minifigs company has non-stop been making fake bomb threats, fake fire threats, fake murder threats in my name that I'm going to murder them. The only problem is obviously these are all fake threats. I would never do something like that, but the police think that these are real threats. So now the police from Los Angeles, from Utah, they're all working together now to catch me. Here's a phone call from just a few days ago of the Los Angeles police calling the Utah police of them scheming of a way to get me arrested for all these mystery threats that I've been making.
Paul, we got a complaint from a guy in Provo about this guy
I
Schneider.
respect him for trying to do the right thing, but at a
and so it
certain
seems
point,
like
you gotta be worried
when I
about
talked to the
yourself,
guys in,
right?
Sandy police
Oh
too,
my
and
God,
trying to get a hold
no
of Provo
sense of
police. So it seems like,
self-preservation at
Schneider's kinda
all.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Basically, so he called me and he's just like, this guy's crazy.
Well, this
He's
is
like
insane.
making threats against us, my employees, our
Yeah,
business,
very
etc. So it
reckless.
seems like this guy might live in LA or his
Yeah,
last known
reckless bet,
address
huh?
is in LA. So I guess I'm just trying to track down like what you guys are doing, if anything. I know, like, at least I've been told that there's technically like a couple open cases. This guy's already being charged in Utah by 3 different places. Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Any idea where he actually is?
No idea.
Okay.
I know we had asked to hold him until we had further, but I'm guessing they just
Oh, hello,
let him
Jay.
bond out.
What's up?
So,
Okay.
The only problem is I'm in a place the American police have no jurisdiction over, so they're never gonna catch me here.
Yeah, no American police in sight.
Good luck finding me. You are never gonna find me, police officers.
She's just filming his location. Okay, well, I guess he's just, I don't know, he's just gonna live in Mexico now, I guess. Well, good for him. Very, very reckless. Oh my goodness, what a nasty situation. Oh man. Crazy. Yeah, very, very interesting. I hope he'll be okay and everything gets sorted out, but I feel like a lot of people would have to admit that they were wrong who don't want to admit they were wrong, you know? Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I did see, like, something on Twitter about this. That they like, got rid of the Josh guy, right?
Short bearded man has fallen into addiction in Lego City. But I don't want to give up the needle. I am glued to this Lego scandal. And today has been an action-packed day of new developments in this case. I'll start with the one everyone has now seen.
I saw this on Twitter,
Bricks and Minifigs franchise owners, the stars of the circus that had been the subject in most of the video coverage around this case, Brandon Best and Joshua Johnson, aka Voldemort and Dr. Evil, have reached a mutual agreement with Bricks and Minifigs to part ways. They announced the permanent closure of its Salem, Oregon store, the one at the heart of this scandal. They announced this like it's fucking E3, as well as making a mention that there was a mutual agreement reached with the franchise owners of that location, Brandon Best and Joshua Johnson, due to a devastating social media campaign. So they send them out with a sad song on the world's smallest violin. They then immediately speedrun to massaging their sack and trying to put the crosshairs instead on the previous owner. They talk about how there's an investigation that's still ongoing, but their current investigation points to the real bad guys as the previous owners, which are the Gormans. They talk about gross negligence, significant evidence of gross negligence, as well as operational gaps during the transition and subsequent management of document recovery. They then provide a lot of information that they've gathered through their investigation, and some of it does have corroborating evidence that other outside parties are now talking about and providing as well. And I'll get into that in a moment, because it does seem like there was a lot of really convoluted, messy problems here, even before BB and JJ, Brandon Best and Joshua Johnson, got involved here from the top turnbuckle. What I find interesting, though, is that they are immediately going into, it's the previous owners, let's all forget about this. Yes, Brandon and Josh are gone. Okay, we can celebrate, but let's talk about the real villains. when even if Brandon and Joshua weren't immediately responsible for how sloppy everything got
they handled
off rip,
it so
they are
badly.
responsible
They're
for their
assholes.
own behavior. We have oodles of body cams, which I know about the unredacted body cams. I watched those. It definitely doesn't look good for the Bricks and Minifig side of things, but I don't believe I'm actually allowed to show anything or talk about that in depth because I don't know if it's entirely legal how they were obtained. But even outside of that, we have the evidence of Brandon and Josh's behavior to Ben on camera and the things that were being said over the phone and how aggressive and vulgar and hostile they were immediately, even upon just a request to try and get this resolved amicably. So again, even if they're not solely responsible for all of the hoopla legally with the consignment and all of that and what was coming from corporate or what was coming from franchisee, they didn't conduct themselves professionally in any way, shape, or form and only served to exacerbate issues.
But Johnson, the new owner of this franchise, also claimed that he had the right to that property. Here's the statement that he made to police, quote, "However, due to the claim that Mr. Mansell continues to call the business despite being told not to and encouraging others to do so as well, he does not want to give these items to Mr. Mansell. He added that he also doesn't feel he needs to since the store's inventory became his once he took it over. So he didn't want to give the items to Mansell because of Mansell's phone calls? And why didn't the police order him to return the sets to Mansell immediately? I guess we'd have to talk to the DA.
I wanted to briefly dump
He
that
was
clip from the
calling me
legal
too much,
video
so I
in here
didn't want
because I
to
think
do
that
it.
is
What?
just comical coming from a ghoul like Josh, who is just like the caricature of a Reddit telephone tough guy.
Yeah,
He
he's such
talks
a
all big and
fucking
strong, puffs out his
loser.
chest over the phone. Fuck you, bitch. You stole the Legos. Let's tango. Don't tussle with the muscle. That kind of stuff. Like he's recorded melting down and crashing out multiple times throughout this whole thing. And then he's like, oh, well, he hurt my feelings. He kept calling us and that annoyed me, so I'm not giving it back. In fact, I don't even think I need to. I took over the store, which means
can't
everything in it is
believe
mine
there's
now.
grown
Which I'm
men who
surprised to
act like
absolutely no
that.
one isn't exactly
Oh my
how that
God.
works. And it's something Legal goes in depth on towards the end of the video about like
Dude,
the
I
messy
remember being a kid and being like, oh, people are like hard to deal with, sometimes, but everyone gets better when they're older because they learn things as they get older. No, bro, people get worse when they're older if that's their personality.
some consignment and stuff like that, and giving examples of like how
gosh.
probably don't
Yeah,
have
so
the
it was such
ability
a
to
crazy
just not
wake-up
give
call
that
for me
back.
when I was like, I don't know,
But
like 24
again,
or
he's
something.
not the only legal analyst that has weighed in on this. There's been so many like lawyers and a ton of like law professionals that have been weighing in on this case because it's just exploded. It's massive. And what's so interesting is how there is so many differing opinions and perspectives from lawyers and experts in law across not just YouTube, but on other outlets as well. There is like no consensus on the whole thing. Some people believe it's a slam dunk case of theft or like a corporate fucking hoo-ha that, they're way in the wrong. And others actually believe that it's not as clear cut as that. The one thing that seems to be agreed upon by everyone is that it is very messy, but Bricks and Minifigs didn't act optimally. They certainly weren't doing the best here, especially not the franchisees, Brandon Best and Joshua Johnson. So even if there is like some convoluted legalese that makes it a little trickier, ultimately nobody handled it perfectly, which has made it become such a nuclear bomb of drama. Now, there has been a lot of new information, like I mentioned, and a big piece of that is calling into question the actual value of the Legos from the very beginning. It has always been alleged $200K worth of Legos, and in fact, that's even what it was marketed as. But apparently that was all just, hype train stuff and not representative of the actual value of the Lego collection. It was all just buzz. So through the Bricks and Minifig investigation, as well as others coming forward and going through it all, the speculation is now that it was around $100K worth of Legos, and that of the remaining Legos that hadn't been sold already, it was as low as $6,200, but that varies from source to source. Because again, throughout all of this, it is still impossible to know what exactly is true and what is
if they were
speculative. So like finding the
advertising
truth
it as
amongst
200K,
all of the
that's
sludge here
clearly
is
what
still
they
really
thought it was
difficult.
worth,
But now
right?
there's a call into question about like the total value of the Lego sets themselves. Also, some of them had been returned. Bricks and Minifigs is trying to make the claim that they've been trying so desperately to work with Brian for so long to get this resolved, and it breaks their heart, that kind of thing. When on camera, you can watch the CEO, Ammon, who just did an interview, by the way, that I want to show you some clips from, just outright refusing to even engage with Ben about it or even entertaining the idea of trying to get things solved, instead wanting to go scorched earth off rip, rolling up his sleeves like, okay, let's get after it then. And now all of a sudden he's, the Zen master, he's fucking, peace on earth, why can't we all be friends kind of guy. Like, so he's really changed his tune now, even though on camera before all this blew up, he was really adamant about, guess we're gonna have to go to, have a fight about it. So now all of a sudden, Bricks and Minifigs is like, we just want to help, we want to make them whole, when all the evidence points to the contrary for the longest time. And another big piece of this is still about consignment. That has been what the huge part has been for a long time. I'll get to that in a moment, but another thing is about like the Gormans, because another thing that's come out is that Crystal had actually had some of Brian's father's Legos at her house, not at the store, which is pretty odd. There was also multiple bookkeeping, which made things even more shady and weird. So there was already a lot of moving pieces here. Now they're also saying that Brian wasn't actually being properly compensated by the Gormans, the previous owners of the location, and that's just unacceptable. So Bricks and Minifigs are stepping up. They're the heroes. Actually, we should be rallying behind Bricks and Minifigs because look at how much they're doing to try and help the little guy. Even though the whole journey here has been them doing everything they can to face fuck him and like bury this. So they have really flip-flopped on their tone behind all of this, but they are now providing information about like this investigation that they're doing, and others are also investigating independently of Bricks and Minifigs and finding similar things. So it has been quite a lot going on. Another thing that's been called into question is the legitimacy of Ben's claim about their victory in small claims court. That also has a lot of messiness associated with it and a lot of question marks now. So this whole thing is starting to get even more wild and wacky and just this crazy fucking web. Now, I want to show you another clip from Legal Eagle's video in regards to consignment, because like I said, that is still one of the biggest pieces here, and there is, on security camera footage, inarguably, a higher level position at Bricks and Minifigs confirming that they are taking on that consignment liability, which may not be technically binding, but it does seem like that is a big deal that they did verbally state that that's going to happen. And Bricks and Minifigs keeps denying that they do consignment, and they always train against it, but all the evidence points to in their contracts, they do allow for consignment. So why are they contradicting themselves? Also, the CEO has become addicted to humiliation. He's doing his own nationwide humiliation ritual and is going on like the YouTuber shows where he is, again, contradicting some of the statements that have come forth from the company. So the whole thing is very fucking peculiar. But anyway, here's the consignment piece towards the end of Legal Eagle's video that I think is pretty important to the overall case.
But Bricks and Minifigs Corporate has argued that consignments violated franchise policy or were unauthorized under the franchise agreement. So we took a look at the Bricks and Minifigs 2003 franchise agreement, which does not say that stores can't use consignment. Quote, subject to our standards, specifications, and approval, if we so require, you may also offer the following products and services. Consignment services. And that's just on the first page. And the franchise agreement template reiterates that on the first page, quote, additionally, franchisees may also offer consignment services. And Reckless Ben states in an update that Crystal Law provided the actual franchise agreement that she signed, which explicitly allows consignment agreements. Now, additionally, there are 4 references to consignment in these documents, and none of them are an outright prohibition. And even if Bricks and Minifigs Corporate outlawed consignment agreements, that agreement only addresses the relationship between Bricks and Minifigs and the Gormans, not the ownership of the Star Wars collection.
He goes on to say that that's between the Gormans and Bricks and Minifigs in that case, not Brian. He is completely independent of that, and his property rights are independent of that. He then goes on to give you an example of what he believes the logic that would be applied here would be.
But either way, I don't think that argument automatically transforms third-party property into franchisor property. To illustrate that principle, if a franchisee violated policy by storing a friend's vehicle on business premises, the franchisor could discipline the franchisee and terminate the agreement. But absent some independent legal mechanism, the franchisor would not become the owner of that vehicle. And I think the same logic would apply here.
And to me, that's the simplest way of looking at it. And it's how most people are viewing it, myself included. If, as Bricks and Minifigs says, they don't do consignment, but in this case, the franchisee went rogue, which is what Ammon is now claiming, which I'm going to show you in a moment. If that is the case, why are they still not giving the Legos that they have back?
Yeah, why are they
has it
keeping
been
them
such
then?
a stink? Why has it been a fucking slobber knocker here, vehemently fighting against it? Now again, all the evidence seems to point to that being a liar plants for hire moment from Bricks and Minifigs, considering in the contracts that we have available for us to sink our little teeth in, they do outright say that consignment is permissible. There is no prohibitive language around that to forbid franchisees from doing consignment. Crystal provided her contract that says that consignment is possible. But as Legal Eagle says, it is also possible that maybe there was an update to that where they then did outlaw it and they signed it. That's possible, but we're just guessing. We don't know. What we do know, though, is that based on these contracts, there is nothing prohibitive about consignment with Bricks and Minifigs from these franchisees. But anyway, again, if it isn't something they do, then why have they been so against giving it back? Josh was even like, I don't feel like giving it back. He was calling us. He was hitting me up on the horn. He was ringing my telephone, and I didn't like when he did that. So I'm just not going to do it. And I don't even think I really need to, actually. So you can suck on my fucking winky. You want to suck on my wiener? How about that? How about that instead of giving you back the Legos? Like, again, if you don't do it, then you shouldn't have it there. It's not yours. Should give it back. Should have to give it back. And that's still, even after watching Legal Eagle and tons of other law experts and lawyers and everything weigh in on it, like, it still seems to be like, yeah, they don't really have true authority to seize that collection there, just because the previous owners had a consignment deal that now they don't do consignment doesn't mean the new owners get to swoop in and now it's theirs. It's still Brian's property would be independent of whatever happened there, at least as I understand it. And with the example that Legal Eagle gives there, I think that makes a lot of sense.
This whole situation is just
a franchisee takes in a vehicle, they discipline the franchisee, say kick dirt. That doesn't mean that the franchisor now owns that vehicle because of that. That would be a huge can of worms. That'd be a huge fucking issue, and that'd be very easy to exploit. So I just don't see a world where there's any real justification for not giving him the Legos back or anything of that.
But we know that consignment agreements can be very difficult, and so we make sure that in our operations manual, through all of our training, we train all franchises that consignment is not part of our model. It's written into the operations manual. It's trained on. It's very explicit. However, unfortunately, we had a franchisee go rogue and enter into a consignment agreement without our knowledge or authorization.
Stop twirling your mustache, Ammon. Holy cannoli. Jiminy Christmas, bro, stop twirling it. You actually look like a comic book bad guy.
Redemption villain.
And the way he talks about the previous owners, the Gormans, he's talking about it like, you know, Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne. She just signed a consignment agreement without our know-how, without our permission, our authorization. Holy shit. That kind of thing. And he's talking about like how they explicitly state no consignment, that kind of thing. We train them against it. That's forbidden. We spit on consignment. But again, if you look at the contracts, it is in there as an option. It is not prohibitive. So I don't know where this is coming from, unless it's a newer thing, which is possible. It definitely could be a newer thing. But then why doesn't he make it more clear and more transparent? Like, yes, we did offer consignment services as an option to our franchisees, but we recognize how messy and difficult that can be. So we did stop that practice not too long ago with an updated agreement with franchise locations. And one of the stores must not have paid attention, and they did a consignment deal. That would be, if that is the case, by the way, there's nothing to even let us know whether or not he's being truthful about that being something they explicitly forbid. Because again, all of the evidence seems to point to in their contracts, you can do consignment, but it's just so slimy. Because he's not addressing the very clear proof that's out there of their actual contracts where consignment is thumbs up. You can do it. Here he's just saying, explicitly forbidden. No consignment. Like he's the pomegranate lady. That's just, see, this is one of those things I'm talking about where a lot of what comes from Bricks and Minifigs is seemingly not truthful and feels misleading on purpose.
And then it appears that may not have been honored with the person that she had entered into that consignment agreement with. And then through other circumstances, we ended up retaking over that store. And in the shuffle, there appears to have been just some confusion as to how, why, and where, you know, like some of this came about. And as we tried to figure that out, we started uncovering more documents, more information. And what we found was that there were 3 separate sets of records that were being kept that shows that Mr. Mansell was significantly underpaid by that former franchisee. And so we've been trying to make sure that we can properly do like a forensic accounting and make sure everything is being looked at properly so that we can work together to get that family resolution.
He's had a big change of heart, it seems, because again, on camera, he showed no interest at all in actually trying to solve this peacefully and get Brian what he was owed. But now all of a sudden he's out there acting like he's Brian's best friend, like, come home, buddy. We miss you. Bricks and Minifigs is here to help. We only want what's in your best interest. Let us make you whole. We're doing everything we can to support you because we care so much about you, Brian. Come on, Squirt. Come on, let's solve this. When previously he showed less than zero interest in doing that and was ready to put up a big old fight about it. Again, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about like the body cam stuff, but this is a very different side of Ammon here. I believe this is the PR side. I don't believe anything here is genuine at all. I think this has become such a huge issue that's bubbled over so much so now that they can't just try and bully him into silence, which is something that again is on camera as a method that Bricks and Minifigs likes to employ.
Say what people want to hear
now. Kai or Key, I already forgot how you say his name, but even just outright said like, yeah, it is a threat. You can perceive it as a threat because it kind of is a threat about how they will drain them legally in court, where they will be paying so much money fighting Bricks and Minifigs legally that they will lose more than they would have ever gained had they won. It is something that they've done numerous times and something they were very proud of. But now all of a sudden, Ammon's out here like, yeah, let's solve this.
So they had done it to other people before
resolved. We're buds, bro. It's just so fake. It's so phony. And again, Ammon was just on YouTube streams, what, 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago now? Where it was a very different tough guy Ammon there, at least a little bit tougher than this. He wasn't the soft shell looking to really help Brian all that much. It was a much more combative version. But now he's more docile. And it's important to keep in mind that it's not like Bricks and Minifigs is like all of a sudden sunshine and rainbows. We want to just help everybody. We just got information from the CEO of Patreon that they have filed all the legal paperwork to try and force Patreon to remove Bin's Patreon account, which is his main source of income. They're trying to strip him of his main source of income to silence and bully him, which is the standard play from Bricks and Minifigs, it seems, based on all available evidence. And the CEO, Ammon, has the gall to go out there now and be like, guys, we just want to help Bin. Let us help, dude. We're just here to help, man. It was the previous owners that fucked you, not us. No, dude. Let us make you whole again.
Oh, they're
He
trying
says
to make
that so many
Josh
times.
the fall
and
guy.
I believe that's because maybe he's
I mean,
in
it's
a more
kinda
desperate position
deserved.
now because it seems like some of Bricks and Minifigs partners no longer feel comfortable doing business with them. There was a statement put out by one of their big partners here, minifigs.me, and they don't feel comfortable working with Bricks and Minifigs, despite this being a huge blow to them on a business side. Minifigs.me, that is. It wasn't an easy decision for them to make, but this has become such a big story that now brands that have worked with Bricks and Minifigs don't feel comfortable continuing to do business with them. So I think Ammon has now been alerted to how bad all of this has gotten for them, and is now just trying to say what he believes will cause all of it to simmer down, which is, we want to make them whole, we're here to help. Josh and Brandon are gone, we've parted ways, they've sailed off into the sunset. Can you guys please just drop this? Like, it just feels like it's now all about saving face and covering their own ass in this PR battle because it's now actually affecting them in a noticeable way. When previously, before this became a huge story, Ammon showed no interest in trying to resolve this. Nobody at Bricks and Minifigs has shown interest to resolve this based on all of the information that's been publicly put out there. So it just seems like it's because it's blown up so much now that they're finally acting. But that doesn't help dissuade fears of Bricks and Minifigs customers who are maybe considering working with them, where if it doesn't blow up into a huge story, you might just be fucked. Because based on everything we've seen from like the behavior of those franchisees, as well as Ammon himself, they don't seem to really care that much to try and resolve issues like privately and peacefully. It seems like they're only now springing into action to try and help Brian get what should have already been taken care of previously. So it feels like it's very tardy to the party here with them actually looking to do the right thing of making Brian Mansell whole and figuring out what exactly went on here with a real investigation. And like I said, a lot of this new information that's coming out from multiple parties does call into question a lot of things that have been put forth from like the first couple of videos from Reckless Bin with some of the claims and things like that. But I will say, in regards to like the police department stuff, I haven't really seen anything to like justify how everything's unfolded with how the police themselves have handled this whole case. That is still something that is very much in a really weird spot. But in regards to like if Ben stepped out of line legally, like within the bounds of the law, or if he did things solely for content that actually was detrimental to getting this solved, as well as some of like the claims he made about the small claims court default judgment victory, things like that, all of that is what's now being thrown into a bit of disarray. I'm curious to see Ben's response to it, to give his side of things on that conversation now. But there has been a lot of new information, and no matter how you look at it, the fact of the matter is, it should have never gotten to this point. There was a very real problem with the way Bricks and Minifigs, the corporation, handled all of this, as well as the way they handled the takeover of this location, making it very sloppy and very messy with the previous owners and then the new franchisees coming in with a fucking chip on their shoulder and steam out of their ears, making it irreconcilable here, where an innocent man and his father's lifelong Lego collection got thrown into a shitstorm. So, and there was no real way of getting it solved through the proper channels, allegedly, based on everything we've seen here. And the corporation showed no signs of trying to work with him privately. They keep saying that they were insisting that Brian provide documents, but he kept dodging that. I find that claim a little hard to believe. That's he said, she said shit, of course, but I find that very difficult to imagine. Brian was just like sweating when they asked for documentation when there already is documentation that the public has access to, so Brian definitely would have as well. He probably would have submitted it if that was actually something that they wanted. And Bricks and Minifigs in their previous statement was talking about how Ben and his team didn't want to submit anything to him, but there is literal videos of them trying to submit the evidence to them and Bricks and Minifigs not being receptive to it. So I'm more inclined to believe Brian's account of things, where Bricks and Minifigs wasn't willing to work with him to resolve this through this messy takeover of that location where his Legos got all lost in translation and everything got all fucking cattywampus. Again, the fact of the matter is, an innocent man and his father's collection of Legos that he spent his whole life collecting that was very valuable got lost in a shitstorm here of a corporation that doesn't seem to care about what happened there and didn't really care to investigate that thoroughly, as well as some franchise owners that really immediately held a grudge against him. Again, according to that document, he'd even said he doesn't want to give them back because of the phone calls. That's some pretty goober shit. So this whole thing seems like a fucking mess, even more so now than like a week ago. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a little update on it. That's really about it. So yeah.
Oh my god, what a fucking mess,
if you
bro.
thought
Dude, everyone involved in this, except for like the original family, is just so fucking messy. Like, what the fuck? Oh my lord. What a fucking disaster. Yeah, this shit blew up. I mean, it's like a good thing, I guess. Like, it's definitely something that is good to have exposure for, right? Oh my fucking god. What a fucking disaster. Oh my god, it's raining here. Alright, well, I was trying to see if I would feel better and then do some gaming, but I'm feeling pretty fatigued today, like, physically. So, I think I'm gonna cut the stream a bit short today, but there's more game shows coming up this weekend, and then I've got Sub Sunday, of course, and then, probably gonna start a new game next week, not sure what.
Hello again.
Or maybe I'll just play the Witcher
At this point,
DLC.
the burnt peanut cosplay
Oh
is
my
like
god,
me waiting to
I
see
never said
Half-Life
I'm gonna
3
do
of
a
these
burnt
shows.
peanut cosplay. Hackerman Putin, thanks for 27 months. But yeah, I will see you guys next stream. Lots of things to do. But yeah, I'm just gonna go chill. I'm feeling kinda fatigued. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm getting sick or maybe it's just like woman time or something. I'm not sure. Hi, Cheddar. They have very low energy today. I don't know if you guys could tell. But yeah, I will see you guys all next stream, and I'll probably be doing some more cosplays and stuff soon. Yo, Morphe, thank you for the 10 gifted. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. More game announcements this weekend. Hi, Cheddar. Hi. More game announcements this weekend and variety stuff. And yeah, we'll have a good time. Okay. Let me find the outro song.